Bonjour! Bonjour!
No.
Time for bladder check. Check.
So it's a show?
It's a lifestyle.
It's a religion.
My emotions! My emotions!
I'm still French.
Ouais, c'est pas faux.
I'm a woman, Mary. I can be as contrary as I choose.
Non, moi je crois qu'il faut que vous arrêtiez d'essayer de dire des trucs.
Hello, hi, I'm Laura. I'm gonna watch Vinland Saga Season 2, Episode 10. Just that. Today I'm gonna watch just one episode, but that's already great, that's already cool. Normally I was supposed to do a lot of things today, but you know, it's one of these days when you're waking up, you're like, woof. You know, like, really woof. So, no, just one episode and it's already great. And you know, after the last episodes of Vinland Saga, which were so cool, so interesting, I love them so much. I think that the previous episode is one of my favorite, if not my favorite, in fact, episode of this anime so far. It was so deep, and I know that for the facts, for really the actions and all, we didn't progress really a lot into the story, and in fact nothing truly happened. But for the character, for Thorfinn, something really important happened in fact. Thorfinn, I said it, into his dreams, was used to picture himself as a young kid because emotionally he didn't evolve during a long time during the entire season 1. At the beginning of the season 2 it was still the same until he began to picture himself as who he is right now, an adult, trying to stop his younger self who was about to kill someone, about to kill Einar's family and all. And during the previous episode, it was more than that. I mean, his dream, his nightmare dream, was in fact really putting so many stuff into it, so many symbolic stuff into it. I loved it so much. For sure, at first it began with thors. And we have to think that all of what happened during the previous episode, all of what Thorfinn dreamed about, it was a dream. It was in fact Thorfinn thinking that this character would think like that, this character would act like that and all. So when Thorfinn is finally meeting thors like that into his dream in Vinland, in a warm place, in a peaceful place and all, when he's discovering that thors is mad at him, that thors is telling him, what did you do, all of that, why did you kill so many people, it's in fact Thorfinn who thinks that thors would think like that. Do you understand what I mean? It's really important for all of what happened during the previous episode, during this dream, to make really that gymnastic, you know, into your mind about it's not what the character would have said, it's what Thorfinn thinks that the character would have said, and it's really different. Thorfinn thinks that his dad would be mad at him. Thorfinn thinks that thors would give him that lesson of life, you know, about the fact that you don't have to kill people like that, it's not okay at all. That's what Thorfinn thinks, like he's really feeling guilty, ashamed and all when he's in front of thors. After that we saw that he almost fall totally into that big cliff hole, joining maybe all of these soldiers, all of these fighters who are still fighting right now. And for Thorfinn, all of these people who are still fighting, they are in hell and they are awful, they are looking awful. For him, Bjorn is one of them, and they are really mad people and all of that. And suddenly we're seeing Askeladd appearing. Askeladd, who is not with all of these fighters. For Thorfinn, inside of his mind, is making a real difference between all of these fighters and Askeladd, who is not with them, who is close to them, judging them, watching them, but who is not with them. It's not with thors in Vinland. No, it can't be. But he is close to these guys. And after that, all of the discussion that Thorfinn has with Askeladd, it's really because Thorfinn during this moment is using the figure of Askeladd for someone wise, for a mentor, for someone who is gonna help him to open his own eyes, for someone who after that is gonna jump with all of these fighters to defend Thorfinn, to help Thorfinn to escape. For sure, I loved that a lot. I know that not a lot of you are fans of Askeladd. I saw that into the comments of my reactions and my thoughts about the last episode of the season 1. I was surprised about it that some of you guys were really not appreciating Askeladd a lot. That's your right, you know, like that's your choice, that's your opinion, I respect it. I was a little annoyed by some comments which were judging me because I love Askeladd. In particular, you know, some people were making analysis about it. Just is an amazing character who is so well written, and yes, he's doing bad stuff, and I always said that, and I think that these people who said this bad stuff about me in fact never listened to my intros and reviews in which I was talking about Askeladd's qualities but also his biggest defaults, and the fact that for sure he's not a good guy and for sure he did a lot of bad things, but as a character he's so great, so well written, so cool, that in fact yes, I loved him a lot no matter what. And you know, if you truly think that watching an anime, watching a show, watching a movie, reading a book, something like that, you can only appreciate the good guy, and that there is really a good guy, a bad guy, and that there is no grey, you know, into this world, and that everything is all white or all black, I think that you totally misunderstood and totally missed the point of this anime, of all of the shows, all of the movies, all of the books, and all of humanity, in fact, you know? According to your values and all, you're gonna judge people, actions, are they good, are they bad, but everyone has a reason to act, everyone has a reason to do something that you're gonna judge bad, but for that person, in fact, it's something good for him, for her, for them. And you can judge it, I can judge it, I can agree, I can not agree with that thing, but at the end, if it's logical, if it's well written, if it's logical with the attitude of the character and all, in a way I don't care, because in fact I'm just gonna appreciate how this character is gonna be written, how this character is gonna evolve, how this character is gonna be. And yes, that's why I can cry like hell for someone like Askeladd, and that's why I was so glad to see him again into the previous episode, even if it was not truly him, it was Thorfinn's version of Askeladd, someone wise, someone who is protecting him, someone who is pushing him to be better, encouraging him, you know, to get out of that hole, to take with him also all of these people that he killed and they want to escape, they don't want to hurt you. All of these memories of people that you hurt, that you killed, you're feeling guilty about it, you're feeling ashamed about it, you think that they want to hurt you, you think that they want to attack you, because as a kid you thought that they wanted to kill you and to attack you, but in fact they just want to get out like you from that cliff, from that hole. So for at the end having Thorfinn getting out, I was so proud, I was so glad. And when he's making that promise with Einar about the fact that he's never gonna kill anyone again, hurt anyone again, he said hurt, I want to believe that he truly wants that and that he's gonna do it at some point. I'm not sure that he can succeed just like that, because he has still some instincts, you know. So yes, maybe at some point he's gonna fail a little, we'll see about it, but at the end I think that he's gonna succeed and he's gonna be the true son of Thor, and he's gonna be a true warrior also. We'll see about it. But yes, really I could talk during entire hours about all of the symbolic stuff that we had during the previous episode. It was such a deep one, such a good one. Ah, I loved it so much. Like I said, one of my favorite episodes, if not my favorite episode so far. I know that this season is a favorite of a lot of persons, and also some other fans totally gave up on Vinland Saga after this season. Like, I have the impression, for what I read, for what I understood, because you know that I'm avoiding spoilers like hell, that this anime took a direction with this second season that a lot of fans didn't appreciate, because that was not what pleased them during the season 1. And with these 9 first episodes that I'm discovering, I think that it might be something like some fans were really appreciating during the season 1 to see a Thorfinn with such a good soldier, who is fighting so well. You know, all of these fights, all of this situation, you know, the war, all of that. And maybe the fact that Thorfinn wants to change that, to not be a fighter anymore, and that is really gonna try to keep that promise, maybe it's something that some fans didn't appreciate and they were not there for that, to watch something like that, so that's why they gave up. That's my first idea, you know, thinking about it right now, beginning the episode 10. I'm gonna begin it right now. Let's go for it. Remember that if you want to have a Patreon on which we have 4 episodes of advance, meaning 2 weeks of advance, they have the full opacity for the reaction part and they have a longer reaction part. An extended one without cutting that much during the scene, you know, really letting the scene go. Or also for big episodes, like the last one for example, and like a lot of episodes in fact for Vinland Saga, I prefer to put the full reaction part also. So if you can be interested to have these advantages, it's on my Patreon. I'm working hard to give you these advantages on my Patreon, to thank you to support me right there, because it really is the best way to support me if you want and if you can. Let's go for this episode! Together. The last one? Oh, I was not prepared for that. For you smiling and losing for real in real life. Cool. What are you gonna do right now? Mm-hmm. You had the time to fall even more in love with her. No! Just the fact that he's thinking about it, it's already amazing, Einar, don't ruin that. I would give everything for you to meet Leif and to tell him that. To go back with him. Leif, he deserves that. To pray? To get rid of it? He's gonna get killed, and they're never gonna be free because of that. But how they can be if he's getting killed? Around? Can you screw them? You're going with Alma? You're clever, you're giving them the time to think about it while you're gone. Maybe Einar can accept. Canute? Is this you? No. Yes? Oh! You're a bird and everything now? Oh, you clearly changed physically. You seemed also really angry and all. And you seem like you're at war. Still now.
イングランドよりご無事の帰国お喜び申し上げます。ウルフよ、兄王陛下のご容体はどうか。ハラルド陛下のご体調思わしくございません。この一月はさらに病ます。
So you were walking with your brother? I was afraid of that. It means also that soon you're gonna meet Alma?
玉打ち遊び、子供の時分、兄王陛下はあれの得意な方だった。よし、玉をよく見ろよ、クルート。行くぞ。それ。
So you were really close to him. Let him do, he's strong. Trust him.
あいつはお前が思ってるよりたくましいよ。お前も少し過保護だぞ。お見事です。さすがは殿下。本当にお怪我はございませんか。
Oh, you were really such a nice father for him.
兄王陛下にはよく助けていただいた。お礼を申し上げねば。
Why? You know, the guy with him is reacting like... Oh!
ほら、わっぱども。よそで遊べ。
It was his dad's head, no? And him, he reacted, you know, listening to Canute like, you're saying that, but... You're haunted by things and Thorfinn had the time to work on it, not you. Brother? You have a sister? He's not just sick. He has already one leg, you know, he's half dead. Why the smile? I mean... At first I was like, why are they surprised? We're talking about brothers. You poisoned your... Yes, why? We know that you're used to poison people, Thorkell is really mad about it, but your own brother? What he talked about at the end of the season 1. Not even you with your big promises and dreams. That was a prediction of your future. But again, like for Thorfinn in the previous episode, right now, it's Canute who is imagining all of that. His subconscious. But your subconscious knows what you did, so you truly poisoned your brother. Maybe that's why this guy reacted like that earlier when you were talking about how much you loved your brother and you need to thank him. My precious. Your sister?
いらぬ。
Uh-huh.
喉は渇いていない。
Did she guess and maybe it's poison?
恐れるは自身が毒を用いるからよ。
Seeing his head everywhere.
少々いたずらが過ぎますな。術を呪いも極まりつつあるということだ。
Oh, you're not just haunted by your dad. You're discussing with him since...
ハラルド王の死は必要なのです。一人前の王の考え方をする。
Like you mean?
スベン王、かつて私はあなたを憎み、死を願った。私が腹を割って話せるのはあなただけだ。
It's not there, you're talking to yourself.
仲良しましょうぞ。呪われた者同士。
Oh, fuck, Canute.
軍医よ、そなたも来い。はい、父上。すまん、クルート。続きはまだだ。
ありがとう、兄上。
強くなるんだ、クルート。俺や父上よりもだ。いいな。
For sure he did it now, you can consider that he did it. Not only stronger, but colder. When your dad, then maybe you. We didn't meet him around, you know, as an adult, so for sure, as a kid, he seemed nice, so sweet and all, but maybe he evolved like his own dad.
こんなものか。どうということはない。
Good memories with loved ones. Oh. It changed, for sure it changed, Canute. I really told you at the end of the season 1 and a little during his episode that we had during the season 2 when we saw what happened to him, you know, during the time jump. I told you, like, Canute is really giving me the vibes of someone, a character, who can follow a path which is great because of the promises that he made, because of this dream that he has, and because at first, you know, he's thinking with good values and all, he can take the good path. But he's really that close, in fact, to take the bad one and to become the worst dictator ever, because he has also that anger and that way of thinking, like, if you're not thinking like me, it means that you're against me. If you're not thinking like me, it means that you're against me, meaning that you need to be killed. And clearly, I think that he fell into that path. Maybe we should have guessed it also with the fact that he was not really fighting his enemies, he was acting with malice, you know, with that, by poisoning them, by playing them and all. Thorkell didn't appreciate that. Thorkell wanted real wars between guys, you know, with honor and all. Maybe we could have guessed it earlier, but I always kept that in mind, that Canute wanted to make paradise, you know, on the real world, and he wanted to do good stuff. And I think that he was truly sincere with that at the beginning. But clearly, with time, maybe he forgot about this dream, this promise also that he made, or maybe just it evolved, it changed, and the fact that already the episode that we had about him during this season 2 was really just about him going for the crown, being really okay to do a lot of stuff, even bad stuff, just to have the crown at the end. It was already a proof that he wanted power no matter what. But I thought that maybe he wanted the crown just to have this entire territory country for himself, so he could make it paradise. But in fact, with time, things changed, you know, for him, and everything changed, and everything is now just about having the power, having the crown, keeping the crown, having the biggest territory maybe and stuff like that. And because of that, it's okay to kill his own brother. And he's saying it himself, he loved his brother, he respected his brother, he wants to thank his brother for what Harald did for him during all of this time. He has nothing really against his brother, but just because he thinks that having two brothers on two different crowns, it can be an issue, he decided to poison his own brother. And for sure his entire life, he's gonna be afraid of someone thinking like him, acting like him, so to get poisoned. So right now when his sister is sending him that drink, for sure he's not gonna take it. When you're thinking like that, when you're acting like that, for sure you're always gonna be afraid of someone doing the same than you, because you can't be killed, you know, be played by someone who is respecting the rules. You're gonna be played, you're gonna be taken, you know, by someone who is like you, not respecting the rules, and just someone who is gonna be one step ahead of you, you know, like before you. The fact that he's talking with his own father, at first, you know, I thought that he was haunted by that, like the fact that we had Thorfinn during so many times being haunted by his own father, Thors, by feeling guilty, ashamed, being haunted by all of the persons that he killed, the fact that he had to make peace with it, the fact that it took him so long to change, to finally take that decision of changing and all. Like, really? I thought that, in fact, right there we were seeing Canute being confronted to the same thing. He's haunted by his father, and maybe also by stuff that he did. You know, the fact that it was his father's head like that, meaning when Askeladd killed him, so maybe he was haunted by that action also. So I thought that we were with the same thing, and that just Thorfinn already worked on himself and dealt with that guilt and worked on himself, when Canute never did it. But to know now that it's an habit, in fact, for Canute to see his father, to talk with his father, to take advices coming from his father, to accept to be like his father, it's totally different, in fact. He's not haunted by his father. He's embracing his father's values, all of what his father did, was, and he's accepting that right now he's doing the same, being the same. He disliked, you know, he hated his father, who he was and what he was doing, and now he is like him, he's doing the same. When on the contrary, Thorfinn wants to be the same and to act the same than Thors, but he's not there yet. So in fact, no, you're not at all on the same psychological path, Canute and Thorfinn. Do you think that his sister guessed what he did to Harald, to their brother? I don't know. We don't know her since a long time. And I said it also during the episode when we had the second part of the memory. For sure, I want to be on Harald's side, in the sense that, oh no, it's awful, that was such a nice person, such a nice kid, Harald, it's awful and all. Like, we don't know. We don't know how Harald evolved. Like, if Canute evolved like that, Harald maybe evolved the same. We don't know we don't know the adult that he was, how he evolved after all of this time, all of what happened and all. So I'm not gonna be sad for him. I can be sad for the kid that he was and for the relationship that they had as kids, but I'm not sure that they had the same relationship as adults, and I'm not sure about the adult that he was right now, Harald. But clearly you seemed to be okay, and the situation right now seemed to be okay also, to have two brothers on two different thrones, even more because your brother helped him to conquer England and all. So yes, it's really surprising in fact that you could do that to him. The fact that Harald would want to give Denmark to Canute, it's a surprise to everyone. Me, that's what I thought, you know, as soon as I learned that the guy was gonna die. For sure, Canute, you smiled about it because that's what you wanted. The first part of this episode with Einar and Thorfinn was really nice. They succeeded with this land to transform it, and soon they're gonna be free. Normally, because now I'm afraid, you know, Ketil and Ormar, they left, and they left to join King Harald, meaning that he can get killed really easily, with maybe Ormar at the same time, meaning that maybe, in fact, Einar and Thorfinn, they're never gonna get free, because it's gonna be Thorgil who is gonna take, you know, the responsibility of these lands, and he's never gonna accept that deal. But meaning also that no one would want Arnett to stay free, to stay a slave no matter what, so maybe that it can be great. But see, like, I'm a little scared of the situation of Ketil never coming back home, so our guys never getting free. And now the fact that thinking about getting free is out of Arnett, it's not a surprise. But Thorfinn thinking about maybe coming back home, that's a true surprise. Oh, I would love that so much. And again, I would want so much for Leif to meet that version of Thorfinn. Even if they're not coming back home together, at least Leif, he deserves, you know, it's a reward that he deserves for all of the time that he searched for Thorfinn. He deserves to meet that new version of Thorfinn. Just to meet him. Please, at some point. Can it happen? I would love it. I'm gonna cry when it's gonna happen. Oh, and I just want to mention also the fact that beginning of this episode, we are seeing Thorfinn smiling and laughing in real life. Not on a dream, in real life. When he smiled at the beginning of the previous episode, at the beginning of the dream, I was shocked by it. I told you, it's the first time that we are seeing him smiling since his father died, you know, since he was a kid at the beginning of the season 1. That's the first time that we're seeing him smiling, and I was getting emotional just thinking about it. It was into a dream. Right there, in real life, he smiled and he lost. You changed so much, Thorfinn. I'm so proud of you. I'm so glad for you also, because with that smile and that loss, we can understand that he's feeling at peace with himself. It's so cool. But can you come back home with all of what Canute is doing, with maybe what Canute is gonna do to Ketil and Ormar? We'll see about it, and I'm gonna see that on another day. So it's all for you and for me for today. So it's all for me for now. So bye for now. Bye.
Wait a minute, Doc. Are you telling me that you built a time machine?
Great.